I actually really want to look into this regarding Star Wars, because despite me not really caring, kind of how do I say this? If you've played Knights of the Old Republic 2, I have kind of since taken the path of the exile, that I have, like she had cut herself off from the Force, I have cut myself off from Star Wars. So I really don't kind of care about any of this new shit. I just don't. But I do like talking a little bit about it. Like, one can be disconnected, but still participate in it in some semblance, even though I don't watch any of the new stuff. But I do like kind of talking about a lot of this. So, yeah. So let's go about, Star Wars hates male spaces. And I wanted to go on from the actual stream, not the clip that they had, because I think there's a lot more they talk about on this. So this might be a long one.
Season and a half of, like, Mandalorian, and I was like, okay.
Yeah,
and by the way, I really enjoyed the first season of Mandalorian. I thought it was really, really good.
We all did.
I saw the first season of Mandalorian. It was all right. I can't imagine. I didn't really care, honestly. Like I've said, no matter even like the best thing in this new Disney canon, it means nothing to me, because it all goes to those sequels. It all goes to the fucking Luke being a fuck up. Han and Leia fucking breaking up and giving birth to a school shooter. It's like, what? Why the fuck do I care about any of this stuff that's even remotely good? It means nothing to me, because it's all going to go to that piece of shit trilogy.
No, I didn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
put my hand up and say no. I think it's anyway.
Well, they have a new series coming out called The Acolyte. Now, I'll tell you,
I'm greatly disappointed. This has nothing to do with Farouk or Bradshaw. If you're a wrestling fan, you'll get it.
what, you guys are the experts on this. Why don't you, before we get into the story itself, give everybody a quick rundown of what The Acolyte is, because it's like a Star Wars origin story, right?
Well, you got to take it back real quick. 2 or 3, maybe even 4 years ago, Star Wars launched a new multimedia initiative called the High Republic, which is an era of Star Wars set maybe 100 years before the Phantom Menace. Maybe it's 300 years, but it's kind of like the Harry Potter Hogwarts Legacy, where it's something before what we recognize.
A lot of shit happened within this, so I got kind of confused. I have no idea. It's like, does this mean that the Old Republic is not a thing anymore? It's like, it's weird to me.
And briefly, no one has liked those books. The books
Can't
don't
imagine.
really sell
Shocker.
well. The comic books don't sell well. The stuff based on that era of Star Wars isn't successful, and this show is coming from that. So, Ryno, what did you think, man, when you heard this announcement that they're making a show in the world of the High Republic?
Well, see, the biggest thing for me, and it always has been, has always really come down to the lore, the canon, and the continuity of all of those things, and the continuity of characters moving through their time periods. All of that stuff is very, very important when it comes to something like Star Wars in this sci-fi.
Oh shit, he's got Revan's because he has Revan's lightsaber. I like that. All right, sorry. That's my little nerdy, little Star Wars nerd in me.
Genre, you could say, those things are so important, especially when you've got a lot of fans out there that's what they love about it, is the connections between these things and how they match up and all of that. My biggest thing with The Acolyte is the fact that we're going to an era where Plagueis is supposed to probably be a thing. Darth Tenebris, his master, is supposed to most likely be a thing.
Mm-hmm.
And yet, we get these constant shifts from dialogue that we've heard before. The Sith have been extinct for a millennia. All of these lines that you hear out there, it's kind of like with the Obi-Wan Kenobi rematch of the century. The circle is now complete. When I left you, I was but the learner. Now I am the master. Like, it's kind of
only the
stuff
master of
around
evil,
with those
Darth.
lines there, and the connections just start to fall apart.
Yeah.
Now, could they do a story where 100 years in the past and make a good story out of it? Well, yeah, I guess they could.
The answer is, would I care? The answer is pretty much no, because I don't give a shit about this fucking timeline.
But with the majority, if not for me, it's pretty much all of everything that they've come out with on Disney Plus.
Yep.
Has been absolutely garbage. What sort of hope could we give this thing? And then you pile on top of that, sorry, Jeff, and then you pile on top of that with the Leslie Headland and the putting her queer identity into this. And then you've got the people, the actors that are in it at Star Wars Celebration last year going, it's a strong female character. Yes, yes. You know, Star Wars has always been about the patriarchy. You know, like this is how it's been promoted. And what are we supposed to think about that, especially with where we are now in the society and the culture?
It's not for you because male Star Wars fans are sexist, according to Kathleen Kennedy. And I got a video about 2 hours.
Yeah, well, male Star Wars fans are probably the reason Star Wars is even as big as it is. I mean, yeah, there are female Star Wars fans, but it was predominantly a male niche. And you can't even say like, oh, because they pushed women out of it. No, it's just men probably just kind of gravitated toward it more. It's just kind of how it is. It's like with G.I. Joes or any of that type of shit. It's girls can play with that stuff and find interest in it, but men or boys had a bigger retention rate when it came to it. I mean, there could be some more things. Maybe it's a little bit like how, same thing with like video games and stuff. It's just like maybe it has something to do with that women or girls, you know, mature more faster than boys. So maybe they just don't have that bigger attachment as this stuff as guys do. But like, why are you going after an audience that really you'd have no idea that isn't a proven profitable market? Not only that, you attack the people who got you to the fucking dance, who got this property as popular as it is. It's so mind-boggling.
Hours.
But actually, we know. I mean, they do it because they want to control it, and they don't understand it.
Now that'll drop about that. That is why I personally don't expect this. I'm sorry. What did you say, Craig?
I said, what a great transition to the story. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, it's garbage, and now we're here. So let's talk about that.
All right. So the creator of the show, Leslie Headland, said, I know how frustrating some Star Wars storytelling in the past has been. I stand by my empathy for fans, but I want to be clear. Anyone who engages in bigotry, racism, or hate speech, I don't consider a fan.
Okay.
So who the fuck cares what you consider? It's basically on who's going to watch this. It's like, that has nothing to do with anything. Who said anything about bigotry and racism? What does that have to do with Star Wars? At least anything regarding this show. It's so fucking stupid. What? This is such a know-nothing fucking comment. This makes no fucking sense.
See,
she's a gatekeeper.
But I also see this as the same thing that they did with the Reva character, Moses Ingram, for the Obi-Wan Kenobi show. They're getting out in front of this because they know it's going to be a disaster, and they're basically already starting to point the finger. It's you guys out there. You guys that are saying that this character doesn't make any sense. I mean, if I can, just spurg out a little bit here. Reva as a character had the worst motivations moving forward as a character, and our understanding of what she knows, and being that Anakin or Vader is Anakin, all of that sort of stuff. It was so jarring and so out of place that's what most people were criticizing. Not the that she was a woman, not the fact that she was black. I will say she can't act for shit, or at least the director that directed her very, very poorly, because all she's doing is screaming is acting. But at the end of the day, it was a shit character, and people voiced that.
I'm going to take his word for it, because like I said, I don't watch any of this stuff.
But yet, we're the racist ones. We had Ewan McGregor sitting in his car going, oh, if you're one of these people, you're no Star Wars fan in my eyes.
Who fucking cares?
If anybody in these studios listen to this, you need to stop doing that.
Thank you.
Yeah, stop attacking fans. How does this, guys, Hollywood, y'all really need to start putting a leash on your writers and actors and shit and tell them to shut the fuck up, because attacking fans does not fucking get you anywhere. It's like, oh, you don't like it, don't watch it. Okay, I won't watch it. I don't have to fucking watch your stupid ass show. I don't understand why you somehow think, I guess these people think are so convinced that the other market, I guess their little allies or whatever the fuck, or wokies, or I don't know, will make up for any lost legacy fans, I guess you could say. That is so amazing that they somehow think that's going to work. And then it doesn't happen. And then they get mad. It's like, oh, I guess it's like, oh, what happened? Because, well, motherfucker, you told us don't watch it. Fine, I won't watch it. I don't have to fucking do that.
Because this is the only way they can get people to talk about their show. That's the problem that nobody addresses, that the media has created. Because I get it, folks. I know how the cycle works. You need to have promotion for something before it comes out, during, and after, when it goes to home media or streaming or whatever. What Disney Star Wars has done ever since after The Force Awakens, they have been jumping out in front of these problems. But what they do is they turn off people from watching them. And then when people don't watch them based on what they say about these shows, like this quote from Leslie Headland, they don't watch it, the show fails, and they react, and they put this out ahead of the curve. You know, you said about Reva, everybody wanted to praise Reva. Everyone wanted to put her on this platform and this pedestal and say, yes, queen. Well, guess what? Where Reva lives right now is Ollie's. That figure is one of the most present figures at Ollie's right now. If you don't live in America, Ollie's is a discount chain.
I live in Ollie's. I mean, I live in America. I don't know what that is. You could have said Dollar General. I think that would have made a lot more sense to me.
Good stuff, cheap is their slogan. I say good is subjective because most of their toys that do not sell are Disney, Star Wars, sequel, and era stuff like that. Yep. Holdo, Reva, Zori Bliss, Jyn Erso, and Rey are everywhere.
I don't know half those fucking characters. Only one I heard was Holdo and Jyn Erso. And that's only because I know of fucking Last Jedi, and because that's stupid ass. That fucking character, and Jyn Erso from Rogue One. Literally the only other person I know. Because I didn't completely hate Rogue One, and then look back in retrospect, I'm like, these motherfuckers got me with their stupid ass member berries. I can't believe I liked this.
You will find the Emperor because he's part of a series that hasn't sold, but overall, this political whatever they want to put into Star Wars just makes Star Wars go to the clearance aisle. And they tried to crowdfund a Reva lightsaber 2 years ago during the show. First Star Wars crowdfunder to die. Next one after that didn't go as well.
Wait, what? This is Disney. What the hell do they need a crowdfunding campaign for a stupid ass lightsaber or whatever? If you're so confident, are you that unconfident in that fucking that thing would not sell? It's so fucking weird. Like they knew it was gonna be shit too.
It didn't go as planned at all. Excuse me. It died as well. They have poisoned this brand, and they keep using negativity and garbage to try to goad fans into talk and yell and fight. And fans have reached a point where they just don't care, and no one's going to watch this show based on this. We'll all grow and do our own thing talking about it, but no one's going to actually watch the show. So they've done this to themselves.
That's kind of funny, because every time that they keep doing this, and yet Bob Iger fucking says, oh, we want to get away from the culture war or whatever the fuck. And, like, did you not tell this to your fucking writers and directors and shit? Did you not tell this to Kathleen Kennedy? To not do this? To not maybe try to piss off your fans and not be an asshole? Does he not see any of this? I'm going to guess not. I'm going to guess he's this type, like a lot of these companies in general, just like they listen to the whispers of that it's within their company. It's like, oh no, it's perfectly fine. Like, I don't know, the negative feedback is just from a bunch of racist trolls. You know, we're doing the right thing. That's Jesus Christ. How did they kill this franchise? It's amazing. It's so fucking amazing that they somehow managed to kill this fucking franchise so hard. The only thing you could outdo Lucas in is someone trying to ruin this franchise, and I still don't even think George Lucas did a bad job.
In fact, the last crowdfunding thing that they had that was successful was the Razor Crest, and then they blew it up.
Hold on, though. The Ghost was actually very successful. What you got to remember is...
I'm just saying the last one.
The Ghost is from Star Wars Rebels. I watched a little bit of that. It's fine.
Last one was the Razor Crest, I'm pretty sure, that was actually
the last one was the Ghost. It's not even out yet.
Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad.
Well, no, that's fine, but it broke records. It goes to show you people are passionate about certain parts of Star Wars, not the whole brand. And now we have a garbage brand that they have spent 5 years dumping on Luke, Han, and Leia, and nobody cares like me. I'm not going to buy a Star Wars figure.
Well, also, too, sorry, Craig, I know you want to move...
Like, the closest thing I've seen that I'm remotely maybe interested in is there's a statue, I think, of Darth Revan I saw that may be going on sale. It might be on sale now at GameStop. I don't know. But it looked kind of cool, and I love Darth Revan. He's probably one of my favorite characters / Sith Lords.
To this really quickly, but the other thing, too, is Star Wars was a movie franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't this TV series you know, what do they call it? The
Miniseries.
no, like the
What?
channel that you've got. See,
Cable?
Disney Plus.
no. Don't worry.
Okay, I don't know what else are you talking about, weirdo.
Don't
We
worry
get
about
it.
that.
I don't, but okay.
It wasn't. It was a movie franchise.
Mm-hmm.
The last movie that we saw from them was a disaster. They can't seem to string a movie together. We constantly get announcements out of.
I would probably watch that Clone Wars movie over any of the Disney crap. And that Clone Wars movie, the one that was CGI, that was kind of more or less like 3 or 4 episodes of the TV show, wasn't all that good. So I would, yeah. Just kind of insane. And I'm not even super big into that Clone Wars. I like the Grendy Tartakovsky, whatever, the really animated one, the really nice one where Grievous was a badass.
Lucasfilm. That's the one thing that they are good at, is announcing stuff. And then they're also good at removing a lot of those things from the slate. They haven't been, I'm really interested. My biggest interest right now in Disney Star Wars is to see what the next movie does at the box office when they finally release one. I mean, I don't know what it is. Is it going to be the Mando Grogu movie? Is it going to be Dave Filoni's Mandoverse movie? Is it going to be the Rey movie? Like, are we actually going to see these? I mean, there's Daisy Ridley came out recently and said she still hasn't seen a script yet, but it's
That's
just around
not
the
good.
corner. But we heard that 6 months ago from the same person. You know, it's just around the corner,
Jesus.
but I still haven't read one yet, and we're still hearing the same thing. Like
I mean, it's not surprising she's the only one that wanted to come back. I don't think she's doing anything really. Like, she wasn't really a big time actress to begin with. Like, I think before this, she was like an extra. I know that much, and she did like voice acting. Of course, she came back, but that has nothing really to do with this. But that's not good, right? As of now, isn't this supposed to come out like in 2 years or so, and there's still no fucking script? Ugh.
they don't even, it's like George Lucas said in those interviews for winning that award, they don't understand the Force. They don't understand Star Wars.
Shocker.
And for all you Dave Filoni supporters out there as well, he's in that same boat, and the evidence is clear when you watch the shit that he's putting together.
I think he may understand it. He just wants to change it up. I think that may be it right now.
But I think that's the thing, though, is when you have the creator of anything, I don't care if it's Star Wars or Tiddlywinks, right? You have somebody who put their passion behind something. Naturally, people won't understand what the creator felt or their vision was behind anything in it. You know, like, you can only pass it off so much and hope that they do your vision justice at a certain point.
Craig,
yes, sir.
What's your favorite story-driven video game?
Probably the Zelda series.
Okay, so good series. Could you imagine what would happen, like your love for the Zelda series, if, let's say, a studio was to come in and start completely turning it on its head?
Right.
Like,
right.
This is what really comes down to. And look, it's not just Star Wars that's being destroyed like this. We see this with a lot of franchises these days. We get and the lack of creativity that we get out of Hollywood, and the fact that they've got to continue doing either sequels or prequels or remakes. That's all you're pretty much getting these days, and it's starting to get really boring too. Oh, yeah. Sorry, go on, Craig.
Actually, listen to what he says, because I kind of have something here.
Well, I was going to say, I mean, we have and Disney's doubled down on the sequel side of things, but let's go and hold on to this right here. As Kathleen Kennedy came in, says, my belief is that storytelling does need to be representative of all people. That's an easy decision for me. Then she followed up with, operating within these giant franchises now with social media and the level of expectation is terrifying. Okay, I think that's a fairly vanilla statement that I think most people can agree with. Anytime you're dealing with a major franchise, like if you step into that, I think most people would agree that there's a lot of expectations associated with that. And with social media, you are going to hear that if you're on social media at all. But she continues, says, I think Leslie has struggled a little bit with it. I think a lot of the women who step into Star
Oh,
Wars struggle
God.
with this a bit more because of
Okay, what was her fucking name? Bryce Dallas Howard directed a bunch of those episodes of The Mandalorian, and I've heard nothing but praise from her fucking directing. I'm pretty sure there are some episodes that they didn't particularly like what her doing, but overall, she seems to be fairly liked in terms of being a director for Star Wars stuff. So I don't know what the fuck she's talking about.
the fan base being so male dominated. They sometimes get attacked in ways that can be quite personal.
Oh, you mean like all fans are racist, bigoted, homophobic people? That
Yeah,
sounds like
no.
a pretty targeted personal attack to me. I mean, George Lucas, I may have not liked episode 1, but I never heard him go out and say, oh, you don't like Jar Jar, you don't like X amount of people or X amount of people. All he said is he may have been too broad, or, oh man, well, you know, he's integral to the character. Say what you will about George Lucas. There was some humility that came with it, and though I didn't like a lot of his stuff, I still kept going back because I didn't feel like I was disrespected or treated lesser than for not liking something. From Disney, if you don't think their way, you are X, Y, and Z. And I find it funny when I'm called racist because, like, what am I racist towards? I like everybody. But they keep doing.
Here's another little thing, and the biggest issue I think with Disney Star Wars is, again, regardless of what you feel about the prequels or anything else after that, you know, that was behind George Lucas, when Lucas was in charge, is that at least Lucas had a fucking story to tell. You know, the original trilogy, obviously a really big story of good versus evil, you know, triumph and whatnot. Even the prequels, giving you answers, giving you more insight on Anakin Skywalker, getting various parts that answered questions, although a bit rough. It was the rise of the Empire, the eradication of the Jedi, and the fall of Anakin Skywalker. Boom, boom, boom. He hit every single one of those. Was it absolutely rocky? Was it followed with clunky dialogue and whatnot? Yeah, absolutely. But he fucking told his story. That is something he fucking do. These movies, everything with Disney, Star Wars, and whatnot, I don't feel like there's much of a story to tell. They are so fixated on the message and all these little check marks to do all this crap that they don't have anything to tell whatsoever. And it is so transparent to the audience. These writers and directors think you're stupid. And that is, I think, the most insulting thing. And that's probably why I don't fucking like these movies. I don't really have any desire to see any of this crap at all. As they seem to be almost completely, I guess, I don't want to say patronizing, but I guess that might be the word. I guess somewhat, what's the word? Passive-aggressive, I guess? And somehow think you don't really care about this. And of course they don't. They don't really care about it. They just see it as a thing to make money. All this is like, for these directors and writers, is that it's just a notch in their belt. They got the opportunity and the honor of working on a Star Wars thing, and they didn't really understand it. In the words of Ian Malcolm, they were too preoccupied to whether they could. They didn't stop to think whether they should. Then again, I guess they also could. They didn't realize could they do. They also didn't realize that they didn't stop to think whether they could at all, because these people couldn't, because they don't understand it. They don't understand the philosophy. They don't understand all this fucking everything, all the philosophy and the concept of the Force or anything at all regarding Star Wars. And they still don't. Jesus Christ, Kathleen Kennedy doesn't even seem like she was aware of the expanded universe. So it's like, ugh. They don't know what they have. Like, this is one of the biggest franchises in the world, and they feel like it's just some big franchise with no actual deep lore. It was just a moneymaker.
And this has been like 7 years at this point. This isn't new from Star Wars at all.
But this is the other thing too, Jeff. You just mentioned episode 1, Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. Or The Phantom Menace. You didn't like that movie? You thought it wasn't really that good?
I was 10 years old when it came out, and I was a huge Star Wars fan before it came out. I saw it. I didn't really like Star Wars again until Rogue Squadron came out in 2001. Like, I don't say it to sound like I'm a contrarian or cool, but as a child, I thought those movies always kind of sucked. It wasn't.
I saw it around when I was 10 as well. I didn't hate it. I think I was around 10. Was I? No. I don't quite remember. I might have been 12. I don't quite remember how old I was, but I do remember seeing that. I didn't hate it. But then I didn't really, all I saw was flippy lightsabers and, you know, pod racing and ships and whatnot. But so I didn't really maybe have a good super grasp on Star Wars, but I didn't hate that movie. In fact, when I go back and like look at those reactions, theater reactions and stuff, and like a lot of people seem to have liked it.
Fantastic.
Go see it as quick as you can.
It was better than all of them.
I think the lightsaber battles were the greatest.
It was good, dude. It was really good.
So worth it. So worth it.
They're gonna love it. They're gonna go nuts. It was amazing.
I couldn't get enough of it. I want to see it again already.
It was amazing. It was everything I thought it was going to be and more.
But the media kind of fucking said, "Oh, this movie's so bad. Jar Jar's racist" or some shit like that. I wonder if that's more how people kind of started disliking it. Because I think there was a point in my life where I started to dislike it as well. But I think that was more of just how maybe I did it by proxy because I was, you know, being a teenager and I was so influential and or not influential. I was so easily influenced, maybe in a sense, that I started thinking in turn that those movies were bad.
It wasn't until the third one came out that I was like, yeah, prequels are okay. And then the Clone Wars show hit, and then I was like, oh, I get the whole world, and now I'm on board with everything.
Mm-hmm.
But it took me.
Episode 2 is probably the closest I got to disliking Star Wars because it was kind of, I felt it was kind of boring, which is kind of amazing, interesting because there's a lot of big plots in that movie.
Almost 10 years to like it.
Despite how you felt about that, did you still always think that that's just the story and it's part of the canon?
I'm sorry, what is part of the story?
With the prequels.
Oh,
so
yeah.
For whatever unenjoyment that you got, or disenjoyment, however you say it, you got from those, maybe the first two, do you still consider those, and did you always still consider those to be a part of the canon and a part of the continuity?
Because George Lucas never dumped on Han Solo and Chewbacca, I was always kinder to those movies. But to answer your question fully, yes, it is. Because even as a child, I understood this is building towards Darth Vader. This is building towards Luke Skywalker. Like, I love this stuff. Mm-hmm. I think what happens is you're trying to sell something to a generation of people who have too many options. Harry Potter, Lord of the Rings, Spider-Man, all were out at the same time as the Star Wars prequels. What you have is a generation of people who have grown up that are now having kids, and of course they're going to introduce them to some Star Wars, but Star Wars had so much competition for such a long time. I grew up in the 90s, right before the special editions dropped, and Star Wars was this new thing that an older generation was into, and I thought it was cool because everybody seemed excited about it, and I got into it. It was like part of the culture still. It has been watered down because of there's so much competition and so much bad Star Wars that I don't think that really applies to today's world. But
I understand what you're saying about
hold on, fuck, I didn't. Yeah, I kind of agree on that, but also in the fact that, like he just said, the sequels, these newer movies don't really pay that much respect to the legacy characters. And I think they do that intentionally. They think, oh, if we make these characters, these older characters, look bad, if we make Luke look like a complete washed up old grump, or Han Solo look essentially make him look like a fucking loser who's still a smuggler, oh, then they have to like our new characters. They're not going to do it to people like Leia, I think, because they probably think it's sexist, and they probably would. Well, they wouldn't have done that to Lando because they don't want to come off as racist or some shit. But these other characters, they'll do it because they want to try to make you like the newer characters by proxy, and I think that's the biggest insult as well. Again, they don't respect what came before it. Now they're trying to, but, it's not working anymore. Like, who are you trying to convince?
Competition that's out there. But in all honesty, if Disney took Star Wars and just excelled to heights that we haven't seen. Like, honestly, if they had have just adapted a lot of the EU and just told those stories and did them justice,
that'd be great.
They'd be making money hand over fist.
I don't know if they'd be making money, but they probably would be, well, they'd be making more money. I don't know if they'd ever get back that money back that they did buying the franchise. All they really have to do, I think, one of the bigger things they should have done is release the original 6 movies. But with the original trilogy, you release like a Blu-ray, but like one part of, with 2 versions on a disc. So like the first, like one disc of episode 4 would have special editions and the original cut, and boom, there you go. That's how you and you do that with every single, with 4, 5, and 6. They've done that before with they did like a DVD release where they had the special edition and the original cut, which I think that would have sold so well. I would have fucking bought that. Keep LucasArts up. Release some of those games they were working on. Try to look and see what the hell's in here that you think could be commercially viable. You really didn't have to do anything that much. Just re-release some of the older stuff. And like completely remastered and whatnot. And you probably could have made some good chunk of change. Even re-releasing the original movies. And but no, they wanted to do this weird shit. I guess they thought they could do it. I guess that's my only argument, but it's like, no, clearly they couldn't. But they were so far in, they just like, oh, well, we got to keep going anyway.
They'd be rolling in. They'd be printing money out of it.
But the one thing they have to take into account is the Craigs of the world who are, I watched the movie once, I'm aware of certain things. Like, I don't like what they've done, but by trying to broaden the appeal.
And also, I don't know if like any of the expanded universe stuff would translate that well to movies. At least not like, say, the Thrawn trilogy, mostly because everyone's so old. Maybe if like an animated movie, but it's like, I don't know. That's what I'm not too sure. Just like re-release the book with like a special edition, maybe some interviews and whatnot. Fans would eat that up.
They've only pushed away the core that is huge. Like Star Wars has a core audience that's millions of people.
And
Them,
they keep shitting on them.
A lot of people to not come back.
Yeah.
I want to dig back into this statement though. And I feel like this is one of the things that we see in entertainment in particular when there's any sort of criticism is they use their sexuality, they use their race as a shield, right? And that's kind of what's happening.
As always.
Here. Says I think Leslie has struggled with it a bit. I think a lot of women who step into Star Wars struggle with this a bit more. I think you could say anybody who steps into Star Wars is going to struggle with it because people are going to be critical of something that they love. It doesn't matter if they're woman, white, black, gay, straight, whatever, right?
Even more so now, considering the state it's in.
The idea that they're stepping into something that people are so passionate about that they want to see successful, there's going to be criticism, right? And the idea that and
especially when these writers completely have their fucking political views all on their wrist, on their arm or whatever. What is it? The heart on your wrist or whatever the fuck? I forgot. You know what I mean. But are so open about their politics. You're like, are you gonna spill this crap over into your writing? And chances are the answer is gonna be yeah.
They're admitting because the fan base is so
heart on your sleeve. There you go. Your politics on your sleeve.
Male dominated. Then why don't you just embrace that? Why are we trying?
Yeah, this is the thing, though, Craig. Is I don't buy it. I don't buy it because this is the thing. As a Star Wars fan, I've been a Star Wars fan for a damn long time, right? As a Star Wars fan and a white straight male Star Wars fan, if a girl or a woman has ever said to me, "Oh, I love Star Wars," it's never ever occurred to me to say like, "No, you're not." Or like
no.
Anything.
Although I might ask, oh really? Which one is your favorite? Because I wouldn't be doing it to quiz them. I want to talk about fucking Star Wars. Holy shit! If I knew a girl who was into fucking Star Wars growing up, I would have fucking talked her head off. I probably would have tried to ask her out or something.
Like that. In fact, it's been more like no shit because it's so rare that you come across a female Star Wars fan that it's like, oh shit. What's your favorite this? Or what's your favorite movie? Or
exactly.
The conversation just takes off. I don't understand where this narrative comes from where it's so...
Yeah, because, Star Wars didn't start... Now it's popular to like Star Wars. It didn't start... Well, it's kind of... Like, yeah, sure, you like Star Wars. It's been like that since 2015 when it was popular to like it.
So patriarchal that the fans have always been like so
Star
bigoted
Wars
towards...
It's led by women. Every movie. Here's the thing, though, real quick, and I'll leave it to you guys. Every movie, the women are the leaders. Princess Leia had oversight over everybody. General Leia, that's fine by Return of the Jedi. What's her face? Mon Mothma. Padme had control. No one ever complained that the men were the soldiers or the Jedi and the women were the politicians or they could fight or could fly. It's like Star Wars had it covered. But then you get the people that think we're going to sell it to a modern audience by making it like this. It was already like that. That's like saying that WWE needs diversity when all of their stars for the last 40 years have been multiracial or this or that. Don't get me started
Right.
on trying to fix the past.
But also now it's being
But it's not their past. They want to make it seem like it's bad. It's worse than it really was. And no, it's just we didn't talk about this stuff. It was very multiracial. There are tons of Star Wars fans of all fucking sects and creed and blah blah blah. We just never talked about it. But these people have to fucking talk about it because it makes them feel special. It makes them feel like they're part of a great big civil rights movement side of the thing. It's so fucking it's goddamn annoying.
pushed even harder. When you watch something like the Ahsoka series, every leader, other than Thrawn, every leader, every person, it's this strong female character now. But it's so in your face that it takes you out of it, right?
They're not
it's like
cool
when
characters.
you watched Leia,
No.
or when you watched Padme, or when you saw Mon Mothma, or when you saw these characters, they were quote unquote strong female characters, but it was never so in your face that you were like, oh look, I see what they're doing.
They're also pretty too. And you can't have pretty women in your game and shit.
Right? Whereas now it's exactly like that. Look, it's another female boss lady talking down to her male underling. That is where the entertainment has gone, and it's kind of like sorry, can you bring that quote up again really quickly?
Sure.
It's
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
first part of it. It just mentions, where is it? Be representative of all people, right? That right now is what's more important in entertainment than telling an actual story. With the right people there to direct it, the right people there to write it, the people that understand the laws within these universes that have actually been established and created.
And they could fix it if they just made everybody aliens. They didn't
dude.
focus on sexuality, and they told an epic story of good versus evil that humans can relate to on a deeper level.
But again, they have no story to tell. That's the thing. There is nothing creative about what they're saying. Anything that's interesting about their fucking. They're trying to latch on. This because this character is black or lesbian or whatever the fuck. They don't. There's nothing to tell. They think that's gonna make you goddamn gravitate to this fucking thing, and no, it doesn't. That makes you fucking boring.
That's your Star Wars problem.
That's your only fucking personality is that of your sexual identity or your skin color.
Solved. Don't try to fix the wrongs of the past or whatever Kathleen Kennedy had to deal with as an executive producer moving up in the world.
Yeah.
Well, the response to this has been, obviously there's been a lot of ratios associated with this Variety article here from the creator of Acolyte, including Master TDS, who was on the show yesterday. Says,
nice.
Says you literally worked as a personal assistant for Harvey Weinstein. The skeletons in your closet are so numerous, it's not even funny. Your opinion on who is
I didn't know
or
this.
isn't a fan is completely invalid. Shut up. And that's obviously
not wrong.
done
Then
very
yeah,
well right
Jesus.
here. There's a lot of back and forth. Now, Alan from Film Threat came in, says the message from Lucasfilm is clear. If you don't like it, don't watch it.
Your terms are acceptable. I will not watch it. I have Disney Plus. I don't watch any of this crap. Like the only thing I really watch on Disney Plus is and I only have it because I have Hulu. The only thing I watch is The Simpsons, and I've kind of tried. I've been in the middle of rewatching the Clone Wars micro series as well, but that's about it. Anything else, I don't care.
Which seems to be a reoccurring. And then of course we have Gary says begun the Disney Star Wars marketing has right here. And that's the one thing that people have talked about over and over again is that this is part of their marketing at this point. Like, hey,
that's their playbook.
I don't even know what they think. I don't even understand this strategy. You're gonna fucking call names to your customers until you bully them into fucking watching your show. What the fuck? How does this work? How is this marketing supposed to work? Watch this show or you're a racist. What?
Just never changes. They just run the same play every time they come out with something new. They've got to get on the front foot of the criticism that they know that they're going to get. Why do they know that? Because they know that they don't even understand what they're actually making. They know that they don't understand the world, the universe, the lore, the canon, the continuity. They don't care. It's been proven that they don't care. How many times has somebody been stabbed by a lightsaber now and survived? Come on. Can we honestly believe that a lightsaber is a formidable weapon anymore?
I've seen some of these clips, so I kind of know what he's talking about. Again, I don't watch these shows, but I have seen, like, what the fuck? Why are these people, like, Qui-Gon got stabbed? He fucking did. I mean, the only real reason you're gonna survive from a lightsaber attack is, you know, if they cut your hand off or something. But getting stabbed, you're kind of gone.
No, because every...
And then you have, like, all these people fucking, like, trying, oh, look, and from a medical term, like, they would do this. Like, I kind of was under the impression that where it stabs you kind of cooks around your body. So it's like, I think you're going to die mostly.
New series has, like, it used to be, and this is across entertainment, there used to be the one thing that you can't, like, oh, this is the most powerful thing in the universe. When it comes out, it's serious. Like, a lightsaber fight isn't about a fight. It's meant to represent something. And so the lightsaber itself has always been the most powerful weapon in the universe. But each new series and new iteration, we have a counter to it and a counter to it and a counter to it. And I think it comes from watering down the epic nature of anything or making something too widely available. Like, Jedi and lightsaber should be cut by 90%. They should be rare and special. Star Wars only has a handful of Jedi, and the more you try to tell a Jedi story, all you do is water it down. And I don't even like the Jedi. I love Star Wars. I don't care about flippy dippy lightsaber shit. I want to see war. I want to see spaceships. I want to see struggle of humanity, not, oh my god, so and so, let me talk about how I was
evaded. Yeah, none of that stuff. But even still, like, even in this Acolyte series in the trailer, you've got that force fu, people are calling it, right? Like, it's the kung fu of Star Wars. You know what lightsaber fights were? It was the hand-to-hand combat within the Star Wars universe. That's what a lightsaber fight is. It is the version of the hand-to-hand combat in that universe. It's very rare that you see this Matrix-style claw coming past and swinging past the body in slow motion, taking a bit of Zack Snyder's little thing. Like, you don't need that. That's not what Star Wars is. And it's so...
Every time he keeps talking about that. Not that I disagree with him. It's just, you know, hearing this hurts me and kind of annoys me. It's like, this is why I don't pay attention to Star Wars anymore.
Twisted it so much that it's not even... That's why I say Disney Star Wars isn't Star Wars.
Appreciate it.
Can I just quickly touch on that previous super chat where... just saying, like, that some people out there enjoyed, like, season 1 and 2 of Bad Batch, didn't really like the third one, thought it was bad. Despite how you feel about certain elements of Disney Star Wars, like, I hate all of it. It's all bad, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
There are elements of maybe some goodness in there, but they all equate to bad.
They all lead to those movies.
No matter what you do or don't like when it comes to Disney Star Wars.
Hold on, sorry.
The best solution for Lucasfilm right now to turn the corner and actually start making money out of Star Wars is to decanonize everything that they've done and start again.
They'll never do that at all. Because that would have to admit to some sort of failure, and they're never going to do that. I guess you could say there's some people who like it and they don't want to do that, but it's like, those people weren't really fans. I don't know if those people were really fans to begin with. Or they'll just, you know, they'll piss off and nothing of value was lost. I feel like a lot of, especially if you recanonize the expanded universe, and I guess they'll learn to like that. I don't know. But they'll never do that. That'd be cool, but I doubt it.
It will never happen. I know that, right? But that's the optimum solution because you've got your foundation. You can go back. And this is the thing. People go, oh, but then what happens to all the people that liked, you know, what Disney
They're not around anyway.
Done?
Yeah.
Well, what happens to all the people that liked the EU when they decanonized that? You know, they've obviously done it.
Sadly, a lot of them stuck around. They were hoping this was going to be good, and then now they're gone.
Once they can do it again. It's not the biggest thing in the world, but they will never do it because that admits that they fucked it up, and they're not going. Sorry, I can swear, right?
Yes.
Fuck yeah.
Actually, yeah. I encourage it.
Fucking swear, you fuck.
Yes.
But yeah, so that's really what it comes down to. Even if you are enjoying certain elements of it, I get it, but they need to remove it all and start again. That's the best solution.
Would you support it financially if they did that? Would you be willing to overlook all the garbage and wasted time of your life and say, hey, here's my money again. You got rid of it.
I'd be willing to open open the door to it. I'd have to see
I agree.
what they did. Like, they could come in and do the Thrawn trilogy and do it really badly. Look at what they did.
I don't want them making a movie of the Thrawn trilogy. I don't want them touching anything from calling Legends. It's the expanded universe. I don't trust these people. And the only way that's probably even going to remotely happen is if they completely decanonize the new crap and put in the expanded universe back again, is if like they pretty much completely purge these people who are in charge right now of Lucasfilm. That's the only way I see that happening.
Did with Thrawn. No one there seems to be able to write a character like Thrawn.
No.
No one's smart enough to write a character like Thrawn over there.
I know they had a book that's actually written by Timothy Zahn that's within this current canon, but I don't know if it's any good or not.
So
like the only fucking person I know who gave it a review was like Star Wars Explained, and he is such a fucking shill.
Depending on who they get. Sorry.
All I say is one last thing, and I'll stop cutting in on this so we can keep things going. But you got to remember about a brand. Branding is not necessarily the world or sometimes the stories. It's the characters, and you got to look at the most popular Star Wars characters, and you can't bring them back. And those are the things that make money, and they've already pulled that out of their hat. So for them to ever try to admit failure or do anything, Han, Luke, and Leia, that's Star Wars. If you like the prequels, which I grew up with, that's cool too. But those don't move the needle. All the nostalgia for the prequels are in these TV shows that don't hit, and all the stuff that would get everybody back on board is the original Star Wars, because that's the only cultural event. 1999 may have been dominated by The Phantom Menace at the box office, but the movie that everybody, including this new show, The Acolyte, is copying is The Matrix. Star Wars has not been the most important part of entertainment, and I'm talking like what actually moves the needle and changes it since the 1980s. And I get it. I like the prequel stuff now in hindsight, but those movies they made money, but they were part of just the time they came in. They were not game changers like the old Star Wars.
Which is amazing. Like they probably could go back to those older movies and try to look and see what worked in those, and then try to incorporate it within the movies, but they don't do that. I mean, there is a market for people going back to that old stuff. Even even in the gaming market, there's even people going back to older video games. Like, look at what worked, and then try to incorporate it into today's stuff. It's not an unheard of fact. In fact, it's not unheard of. It's not that people sometimes the old ways can work.
I want to compound on what you said about. And you said when the first movies were released, you didn't like them, right? And I think over the last, just looking at it from the outside in, I was there when they released that movie. What was it, 99, right? Was it? And I mean, I saw the movie in theaters, and I remember the general consensus from all my friends with me, like, yeah, it sucked. It was not good.
Like I said, growing up, I didn't hate that movie. I actually kind of didn't. I don't think I really loved it either, but I kind of liked it. And I remember my I guess my ex-brother-in-law, because they're not together anymore. But we went to go see that a lot of times, and I think because he was a massive Star Wars fan, still is, from what I understand from my niece, who but he is like, well, we watched that like a lot of times, and I think in retrospect, it might have been because he had to see maybe if he liked it or not. But I think that was kind of the. But I don't remember a lot of people saying, like, when they first saw it opening night, they didn't completely hate it, and it wasn't really until the media started kind of lambasting it that people started going, yeah, that movie kind of sucked. So I don't know. I wonder how much of it people legit didn't like it, and how many people, or kind of only because the media kind of dictated that that's a generally bad movie, so therefore people hate it. Because, this is obviously before the internet was a really, really big prominent thing that it is now. So, yeah. I mean, like I said, episode 2 was probably a movie I didn't like. I liked the least out of all these, but I just wonder.
I think that has changed over the last 10 or 15 years.
Well, it's got a reappraisal because you look at everything that Disney made and you go like, well, these aren't so bad.
I think that, especially back then,
because there's a story.
General thought was the original trilogy. Right? I guess that's 1, 2, and 3, because 4, 5, and 6 were. I guess how does it work with
the
Star
original
Wars?
4, 5, and 6?
Okay. Yeah. So 1, 2, and 3 were seen as like the knockoffs. Like they were like, it's like not George Lucas's best work. I
don't call it a knockoff. It's just something different. He was trying to do different things, and he's kind of shows he's not that good of a director. He's a bit of a. not the greatest director, I'll say. What was it like? He kind of gave the direction like more intense or something, in more intense. I forget what it was, but apparently he didn't give a lot of great directions when he was working on it.
That's the narrative that I remember, and I think that over the last 10, 15, 20 years, that narrative has shifted a little bit as people have been a little bit more accepting to them, and they look back at the newer ones. They're like, okay, those weren't as bad as we thought. So
this is the other thing too with that, is that with something like the Phantom Menace Episode 1, over time it's a bit like the Rogue One Vader hallway scene, right? Without that Vader hallway scene in Rogue One, that movie isn't really that great, right?
It's very rushed about Rogue One. It felt like that would have probably served better if it was like a mini series or something, because it tries to lead me to believe like toward the end where they're on God, I forget the fucking planet, the little beach planet, and they try to make them seem like all Jin and all these other people, like they're kind of have this camaraderie, but they've only known each other for like barely a day, or what seems like barely a day. You need a lot more time to build this up, and obviously, from what I understand, there's a lot of things they kind of had to kind of condense a lot because essentially they didn't want to make. While the director wanted to make Star Wars meets Apocalypse Now, but obviously that doesn't sell tickets, and you got to appeal this to the kids as well. They kind of had to pull that back a little bit. And I kind of wish the director would have put his foot down. It probably would have been a lot better. But like I said, it should have been a show. I feel like it would have done it would have benefited a lot more, even if I didn't really care for it as much. But I think it would have given a better chance to show more insight into the rebellion, and I kind of wanted to see that type of stuff. But yeah, that's just my 2 cents on that.
But everyone always references the hallway scene.
Yeah.
Well, the thing that
hallway scene and all the space battle, like the last part, it's like the most exciting part of the fucking movie.
Elevates something like the Phantom Menace is the Duel of the Fates.
Mm-hmm.
That fight, the music, the score,
and the pod race,
everything about that does really elevate that movie to a different plateau, so to speak. And I think over time, Jeff, I saw you. I think over time, people have started to appreciate that more, probably because of the good elements of the movie, like the Duel of the Fates, and that's really my point.
I just think that movie is that scene is so amazing. Like, we all get the feels, and like, if you were back there in the 99, the music was on the radio, like that was everywhere. But that's really that movie. And going back, I did a little documentary. Every piece of advertisement for that movie is the Duel of Fates, the fight scene on Tatooine, and the whatchamacallit in the space battle. And of course, every movie's gonna copy.
And the pod race. Why we keep leaving this out? Come on. People fucking love that the game obviously even elevated even more. Come on, that's a big one.
Or have the best parts in the trailer, but other movies have more than just the trailer scenes. Even me, who's kind about it, Episode 1 kind of lives and dies by its pod race, its lightsaber duel, and a few other good moments. Like, I don't really need to hear people talk.
Oh, sorry, but there is one more thing in regards to that whole thing with George Lucas and the interviews that he's done recently and everything.
I'm glad he's actually fucking. I'm not laughing at him. I'm laughing that he has a lot to say, but I'm with it.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys still believe that he's coming back to Star Wars to save it?
Save what? There's nothing to save.
Because
it's a
nobody
crater.
Remembers the actual reason why he got rid of Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Fans didn't like Episode 1. People harassed him. People ran up to him on the street. People dumped on those movies. But People versus George Lucas is a very well-known documentary.
Such a piece of shit documentary.
I just say this as like a long-term fan, and you got to be careful, because people think if you say anything bad about George Lucas, you like the Disney stuff. And no, George Lucas isn't the George Lucas he once was. And Star Wars isn't just George Lucas.
No, it's not even to say he had like the best ideas. I remember like they were talking about that Darth Maul game, and then like they had like the developers had like a model of Darth Talon, and like he just goes, they're friends, and then like the developers had to tell him, well, they can't really be together or anything because Darth Talon is not is like was around like thousands of years after Maul was even a thing. It's so like he's not the greatest, but it's his.
we had just George Lucas, it'd be prequels and crap. But you got a guy like Gary Kurtz, who was a producer. You got artisans like Ralph McQuarrie and John Williams, who really bring that to Star Wars. Star Wars is more than George Lucas. But that being said, Lucas, the fans turned on Lucas for episode 1 and he gave up. Why would he ever come back to that fan base? I'm just throwing it out there. People like to ignore that because it's a nice video topic to get people clicking on. Will he come back? Never in a million years. He got paid $4 billion. He's the biggest shareholder. He votes for what they want. He's been on record. He doesn't like you guys, and I'm included in that, because we didn't like episode 1 25 years ago, and it doesn't matter that we like it now or build up his movies. You hurt the guy then. He got rid of it, and that's it. He's never coming back. He's laughing to the bank. He's got a new family, and he's got a public reason why he left, but he'll never come back because there's no value in him anymore.
I mean, it's a sinking ship. Is it even a sinking ship? It's like a sinking ship that's on fire in an oil, where a bunch of spilled oil. There's no incentive for him to ever come back. It's like, I'm just happy to leave you all in your own little crap hole. You're screwed. Goodbye. That's it. Yeah, he'll come back when Kathleen Kennedy finally gets fired. Any moment now, guys.
100%. Yep. He won't do it. Well, there's obviously his age and the family elements to what you're saying, but this is the other thing too, is if he was to come back, let's just throw it out there. Let's say he does come back. How is George Lucas going to do George Lucas Star Wars in amongst Disney Star Wars? That's not going to actually make any sense with the current continuity and the current canon that we've got. So that's another element or another factor to take into consideration when actually thinking about this is, and the other thing too that I hate hearing, especially from the people out there that are like, yes, this next show that came out, it's the best Star Wars we've ever seen. The next one, the best Star Wars we've ever seen. The next one, best Star Wars we've ever seen. They're the ones that come out and say, Dave Filoni's been promoted to Chief Creative Officer. Star Wars is saved. Or George Lucas is coming back to Star Wars. Star Wars is saved. What is it saved from? In your perspective, in your eyes,
that was all perfect.
Star Wars is in a really good place. Everything that is coming out is really good, right? But yet you still say that Star Wars is being saved by this new announcement or this new person that's coming in. How does that work? It's kind of like when they make the argument about, the EU was never canon. How does Disney canonize something that was never canon?
That's true.
That's an oxymoron. It doesn't make any sense. You can't decanonize something that was never canon.
So George Lucas came in with, this is from That Park Place, says George Lucas bashes girl boss heroes. Says you can't just put a woman in pants and expect her to be a hero. We've talked about George Lucas quite a bit here. He was at the Cannes Film Festival where he received an honor. Great, good for him. He was asked
his wife.
by Variety. He says that Lucas addressed criticism of his female characters, questioning, who do you think the heroes are in the stories? What do you think Princess Leia was? She's the head of the rebellion. She's the one that's taking this young kid who doesn't know anything and is boisterous. This boisterous, I know everything guy who can't do anything and try to save the rebellion with these clowns. And it's the same thing with Queen Amidala. Then he appeared to broaden his criticism to the general girl boss trend Hollywood has embraced to promote feminism. Says you can't just put a woman in pants and expect her to be a hero. They can wear dresses. They can wear whatever they want. It's their brains and their ability to think and plan and be logical. That's what a hero is.
I agree.
I'll open it up to you guys right there. Do you agree? It seems like a pretty base take from George Lucas right there, but he does. By the way, he does have more to say, and we'll continue that in just a second.
I think that's what everybody's been wanting to say and have been trying to say for years, because people feel like they're yelling into the void when they get this corporate Disney response to all the crap, because we've all liked stuff before. Ellen Ripley wears pants and uses a gun and a flamethrower and says the word bitch. Like, she kicks ass in that movie. And and never once did we go, oh man, she's disrespecting the guys, or never.
The bride from Kill Bill kills a whole bunch of motherfuckers and she is awesome.
once did we watch Princess Leia yell at Han Solo and go, "Oh man, she hates men"? No. Lucas understood it. Like, you can say, I've said a lot about the prequels. Like, Padme doesn't suck, and Princess Leia is iconic. I will drop any amount of money to make sure Princess Leia is a part of the collection. It doesn't matter, male or female.
Padme is completely trying to do everything she can for her people.
Female. Princess Leia is worth my time. Other characters, male or female, aren't. I only buy if they're good. I don't care what the gender is.
You know, it's funny because you wonder if he's going to receive backlash for saying something like this.
Oh no, what are they going to do?
Will George Lucas receive backlash for just saying like, "Hey, come on, what are we doing here?" Right? If you're going to write a woman, man, whatever, at least give them a good story.
How long is this one?
Give them some intellect. Allow them to solve the issues. But he continues on in this.
Lay it on me, stud.
During the interview.
Just quickly, George,
yes.
To me, he seems like he's over it. It's like
I agree.
Jeff was,
oh yeah.
It's like
what does
Jeff
he
was
care?
saying earlier with the prequels,
he let go
a bit of shit from some of the fans out there, and now even after selling it, they're retroactively spinning this narrative of like, oh, it's been patriarchal, or it's, you know, all about the strong female characters. Even when you watch the interview, it just seems like it's almost like a robotic answer. He's just like, you guys are just, this is ridiculous. I don't know why I'm really answering this question at the end of the day. That's how it comes across to me anyway. He's over it.
Well, he continued. He says, not only did Lucas address criticism of his female characters, he also fired back at people unhappy that his Star Wars films do not have enough diversity based on characters' color. Lucas shared, they would say it's all white men. Most of them are aliens. What's that?
Sorry.
What do you mean,
no,
who?
Just who out there is saying it's all white men? This is the bullshit narrative that they're actually spinning though, to try and get a reaction.
Well, the people who are saying it's all white men are literally the fucking writers. I think that's what he's talking about. Or the people who are making this shit are saying, oh, that's all white men. I think that's what he's talking about. I don't think anybody really online is saying, oh, it's all white men, unless they're like complete massive Disney stans.
From George or from anyone really, because this never happened.
Well, so wait, so just to be clear, you're saying that people aren't complaining about it being all white men?
Yeah.
I've never, and I'm not a white guy. Star Wars was great as is. Like, you don't need to change it to make it appeal to women and minorities. Han Solo's cool no matter what color you are. Lando's cool no matter what color you are. Princess Leia's cool no matter what color you are. These characters suck, and they just so happen to be minorities. That's the problem.
I feel like the only people that would say something like that are the people on Twitter that have pronouns in their bios and that ship the characters together.
And don't care about Star Wars and never really cared about it until 2015. It's like, and they can't even say they were like, oh, I've always been a fan since, you know, the other movies didn't. So you apparently had a problem with it. So what the fuck? So how can you be a fan with something you didn't like? Because apparently these things are a problem now that were in the movies. It's so fucking weird.
Because like
Raylo,
the Raylo stuff, or the Din Cobb, you know, Din Djarin and Cobb Vanth. Have you not heard that one? Oh,
What the hell?
Let me tell you this.
I don't even know who they are.
This was a thread that I saw on Twitter, and it was a guy. He goes, "I got a new job, and I went to work for my first day." And I'm a massive Star Wars fan, and I just happened to mention it to some of my colleagues, and there was another guy there that said that he's a massive Star Wars fan too. So I asked him, what's your favorite ship? And he came back and said, Din Cobb. And I'm like, oh, Din Cobb, I've never heard of that ship. What's that? And he goes, you know, Din Djarin and Cobb Vanth. And all he was thinking in his head is, no, your favorite spaceship, you fucking retard. Like,
Jesus Christ.
Exactly what he was thinking, and that's why he quoted that.
Mine's the Otana from X-Wing Alliance, by the way. That, or I don't even know if I guess that's like ship. I guess you could say maybe the X-Wing, because I'm kind of boring. But I also like the Snowspeeder. I don't know. I've always liked the Battle of Hoth. That's just me.
These are the people that would go out there now and say that it's all about, you know, it's all white straight males or whatever.
Okay.
Because they're not fans, like I said. They didn't start liking this until it was cool to like Star Wars around the 2015 when Disney bought it and they were putting all this stupid ass what is it? all this hype behind it. These people don't care about this stuff because if they did, none of this stuff would be seen. All this, it's all white men, whatever the fuck, would not seem so problematic to them.
It took me a minute, but the idea of shipping two people together, I get it.
Mm.
Yes, okay.
Oh my god. It's like,
We
what's your
need
favorite
a Craig learning moment.
Yeah,
Like
well,
Blabs learning moment.
If you go back and look at it, you'll actually see it ding in my head. I was like, oh, there it is, right there. I figured it out.
Choose you. You can watch it breathe.
Right. Well, he continued with this answer. Says the idea that you're supposed to accept people for what they are, whether they're big and furry or whether they're green or whatever. The idea is all people are equal. So there we go. And that's and he said, as he said in the past, you noted that robots are the ones being discriminated against. That way.
Yep. We saw that in 4.
That way, a way of saying, people are always discriminating against something, or sooner or later, that's what's going to happen. So there you go. I mean, he's pretty much just like, hey, y'all chill. Just make good characters.
Bingo.
That whole thing about the droids, like droids are programmed machines. They are property, and it's not that they're slaves to their owners. It's nothing like that whatsoever. Like this
is your car a slave to you?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
This is Star Wars lore. When Han Solo puts his hand over 3PO's mouth when he's on Hoth, like that's not like a disrespect thing or anything towards a droid. And to think that they're sentient,
Well, it's because 3POs won't shut the fuck up.
like how they portrayed them in the Solo movie, where as soon as you remove the restraining bolt, they're up on the table going like this because that's essentially what they're programmed to do, because it's a machine, right? That's got programming. So that means that without the restraining bolt, it was actually programmed to get up on the table and protest.
That's
like
dumb.
it's so stupid.
Thanks, Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Yeah, thanks so much.
That's
for
what's
that.
coming to Tomb Raider. She ruined 007 and Indiana Jones.
Oh man,
that woman is like poison to franchises.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. We'll see kind of what happens with that. But
Okay, that seems to be where it's going. I think that's about it. Yeah, everything else is like super chat. So, yeah. I am so detached from Star Wars, and my detachment continues.